paid apart.
Yes.
Okay, you are,
Raven Trammell.
okay, and you are,
Amy Hankins.
okay. All right, why don't you start?
Okay, my grandson was removed from my son's girlfriend, who was in Pine Bluff prison. Before she went, she was scheduled for a C-section on the 14th September. Her water broke on the 9th, which was a Saturday. I had already been cleared by the prison and the warden and everything to be at the C-section and take the baby home in 2 days, and we already knew he was a boy. When her water broke on the Saturday, I woke up with this just feeling of, what is wrong? And I was just like, there's something going on. And I go to Walmart and I see my lawyer, and I'm like, there's something wrong, there's something going on. Well, her water had broken, but I didn't know, but I could just feel it. And he said, well, we could put in a petition, but he's not born, so is he recognized as a fetus and all this. He said for me to meet him at the courthouse that Tuesday. So that Tuesday rolls around and I meet him at the courthouse, and DHS was there to do an emergency ex parte, but I did not know anything about it. My lawyer simply tells me to leave and to meet the DHS lady in her office at 1 o'clock. So I did that, and she told me right off the bat that no matter what we did, that we would never have him.
That she had found a home, not for a day, not for a month.
She had found
for
a
lifetime.
family for this baby, not for a day, not for a month, but for a lifetime. So then my son did DNA, and we started jumping through their hoops because they said that was the only way we would ever have a chance of having him in our lives. That was in 2015. And they broke my son. My son is an ADA case, so they shouldn't have had sovereign immunity, but they did because we have a federal lawsuit, and they got off. They used the younger bar and the sovereign immunity, but they shouldn't have been able to. And so we've been fighting since 2015, and we found out a month ago that he'd been legally adopted in June. And they really did, they broke my kid
So they
down.
took him away from a prison mom.
They took him away from a prison mom that was in a hospital with no imminent danger. What danger from doctors and nurses?
And
None.
it was a different county. So she went to a judge in one county
On a Sunday afternoon.
at his
Got
house
Cleared, at his home. Got cleared.
to go
All
into another
paperwork.
county
She went from Sharp County to Jefferson County,
and never notified that county that they had a child being removed.
came back through Jefferson County and Sharp County and took him to Independence County.
And her final paperwork states that this placement was a preference
Yes.
placement.
A
Her paperwork
preference.
says that, and even the guardian ad litem,
Preference
and
placement, what does that mean?
it means they didn't find anything wrong with her home. They did
couldn't.
home studies.
They did a home study and it passed. They said my income was the problem. But they could have made me a foster care.
Yeah.
They could have done.
Kinship, guardianship.
Yeah, they
kinship.
could, and I put in for guardianship. I did an adoption petition, and the deck was stacked against us from the get-go.
And so your son was not in prison though?
No, and at the time of Landon's birth, he had nothing on his record that would stop him from getting his son. And our lawyer said if they rule in the law, you leave with your son. Well, obviously, they didn't rule in the law, and I did not know to say appeal the affidavit dealie, you know. And then in the affidavit, there's lies.
Lots of it.
Lots
Like
of
they
lies.
accused the mother of being
being
a sex offender.
Yeah, and she's not.
Serious lies.
And we live in a very, very small county, and there's such high numbers of terminations and adoptions. We were working.
Are they
with
shipping
a-
them out of county? Are the adoptions going out of county?
Yes.
And they're handpicked, from what we understand. They're pretty much
We
handpicked.
were working with a reporter. This is what I don't get because this says crime all the way around. We were working with a reporter, and she was able to get a list of adoptions, and she said that done by the same judge and one lawyer. And she said some would be like a baseline amount and others would be this high dollar. And she said she got a death threat in her email saying back off or you'll be found floating. So she called
From
the
who?
attorney. She doesn't
tell
say
us
us. She doesn't tell us. She doesn't say us,
She
Josh.
And is she
didn't
from
tell
a
us.
different county? Where-
No,
No.
she's from our county.
She's from our county, but she called Leslie Rutledge
And from
told
there,
her
she's-
about the threat. So right there, Leslie Rutledge knows there's a crime. A death threat is a crime. A death threat about backing off because somebody knows about adoptions. But yet the AG's office is the one who represented DHS during the whole court trial.
And what makes Ravens so sad is that I'm Amy Hankins. I'm Amy Albright now, but everybody knows me by Amy Hankins because 15 years ago in this exact same county,
By
a
the
couple
same
blocks away
worker,
from where she
same
lives,
judge.
same judge, same worker, they kicked my door in or were told to kick my door and I'm not even sure what. I was the widow of an 18-year veteran soldier. He passed away because of Desert Storm and we had a 5-year-old that passed away. So in 3 days' time, I lost half my family. And while my son was dying, it went to the Supreme Court down here too, but we won. The doctors all helped us. But the same lady at that time had wanted to take my dying son away from me. And we fought back, but that's what got my attention was that.
And then she started in her journey with the lawsuits and the lawyers, so then.
Did you get your son back?
No, I never did. My son passed away. My son and husband passed away 3 days apart.
Okay.
So I was not really.
So who did they take away from you?
After my son and husband passed away, we won the first case, which only caused a vendetta because we won. It went all the way to
Oh, I
Supreme
know about
Court.
vendettas, yeah.
Right. So now this woman is mad.
So who did they take away?
So my husband and son died, and they take it was like 5 months later, they took all my remaining children from me. Three remaining children. I had an 8-year-old that was devastated, still devastated to this day, he's 24. And not only did they do that, some of this stuff is really hard to say, but I didn't get to see my children's faces for 7 years. On top of that, my children had to live because this woman told them, your mom's gonna die too, she has HIV. That's what she was telling my children. None of it was true, it doesn't matter. It's all over town, it's all over the United States, and it's all over my children's poor little minds, and we're separated. It was horrible.